Aging, Alzheimer's, and main running involves friends. And I want to start out 10 years ago with two very favorite friends. My son Alejandro and my best friend Vana. And this was, Vana and I had decided to go see my son Alejandro run the Boston Marathon back in 2014, a year after the infamous bombing that took place. And when we got there, I was just so blown away by the energy of that place. Bob Duffy knows all about it. He's been doing it for 100 years. So I've been there. I see, 50 marathons, Bob? So crazy guy. So anyway, so the thing is that that evening, it was Alejandro and my wife, I said something that triggered a reaction from them. I said, I would really like to run again. I was 64, and my son said, "You could, Dad. You could." I said, "No, I can't." And I told him about when back in the 1970s, late 70s, some of you who are old folks in the room like me, and not young guys like Bob, Bob, kid, and the kids. But back then, a guy named Jim Fix wrote a book called The Complete Book of Running. And it just radically changed the landscape of running in America. Fix did that. And so I got the fever, and I started to run, but what do they call it, pronate? Yeah, my ankle started to pronate, and my leg was twisting. And finally, I thought I was going to break, and I said, forget it. At 43, I quit. That was a big loss for me in my life. So I went to the Stairmaster. And so I mentioned that to my son. He says, "But Dad, the world has changed. The technology is radically different. You can get out there now. The shoes are just different now." And Vana, my best friend, weighed in, a former equestrian competitor. She compared me to a horse. She said, you're like a horse, honey, a racehorse. You just need the right horse shoes. So I thought about the horse stuff. It kind of bothered me a little, but I said, well, what the hell? Both those inspired me. These are friends, right? These are friends. And so after listening to what they had to say, I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. Because all my life is do the best you can. And I'll get to that point at the end of this. And so I went out to Planet Fitness. I got on the treadmill, bought some discounted tennis shoes instead of walking. 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles. And then I started jogging. 1 mile, 2 miles. And then I just kind of jogged, ran a little. I said, I think I'm ready. I think I can do a while on hard surface. So I went to back home. And I didn't just jog a mile or 2 or 3. I ran 3 miles. And it was the most unbelievable, almost religious, spiritual feeling I've ever had, to know that I could run again. And then I wanted more. So I turned to my son, Alejandro, and I said, what do I do? He says, well, there's this place called Fleet Feet on 4th Street. I've taken you there, on 4th Street. I said, and that was where Fleet Feet was over there. That was before Aaron was even born, And so I said, then I found out it was here. It's here. And then Aaron was born. So I came here and I ran into Kathy Hefner. Is Kathy here? Kathy Hefner. Hey! And curly head. And so Kathy greeted me here. And so we tried on a couple shoes, and then she had me do like a perp walk, back and down, and it was kind of like everyone knows the drill who's trying on shoes here at Fleet Feet. And then finally we decided on a pair of shoes, and then Kathy said something to me that I will never, ever forget. She looked me in the eye, she got my old discounted shoes, and she said to me, "Don't ever wear these shoes." Like a little boy, I kind of nodded my head. I walked home and I got the discounted shoes and I threw them in the trash. And then she was my first friend at Fleet Feet. And then she also helped me in another way. I said, how do I get into this running stuff? She said, check the website. Fleet Feet has a website, so I checked the website, and they had these programs on how to run and everything else. And then I signed up for one. and I call him Mr. Handsome, Matt Lunt. Matt, that's what I will. And so I ran Mr. Handsome. I said, I want to Mr. Handsome for this coach. And there were a number of people I saw that like Greg Field. He's not here, but you folks know Greg. He was a part. Greg was like 20 pounds heavier than that. He's going to run the Boston Marathon. And so after the experience with Greg and with Matt, I was prepared. 3 months later, 5 months later, I ran my first Beach to Beacon run, and I never looked back. It was a great feeling. Then Matt encouraged me to focus on the half marathon, then the marathon. And then from there, after that period of time, I was ready. But I got cocky, like a lot of us do when we first run a marathon. I felt very good, but all of a sudden, in fact, where's Bob McKinnon?